Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Atlanta Falcons Today. Before we start today's video, mailbag video coming up this weekend. Means we're a couple of days away. Here's what we're going to do. You go down below right now in the comments section using the hashtag Falcons, ask your question, and more likely than not, it'll be polled and introduced and featured in our upcoming mailbag video. The caveat, you got to be a subscriber to get your mailbag question answered. So subscribe and then go down below and use that hashtag Falcons to get your questions asked, and I will answer them hopefully in the coming days. Let's jump into the latest Atlanta Falcons news and rumors here today on a Wednesday, and we have some new updates on Calvin Ridley to go ahead and start with. This is some interesting stuff. So, a couple days ago, we talked about how Calvin Ridley obviously underwent a minor foot procedure, and he was expected to be out the rest of OTAs and be ready for training camp. Well, Calvin Ridley spoke to the media on Tuesday, which was yesterday, and gave some not only reassurance on the injury, seemed pretty confident that he's going to be healthy and ready to go for the start of training camp, but also his confidence in the ability to be the now #1 wide receiver in Atlanta. So the question now is really just how big of a deal was this minor foot surgery? Again, he went to Green Bay and had it with the Dr. James Andrews, who's done a lot of other NFL player surgeries, and he kept emphasizing in the press conference that it is minor and that he is still at Flowery Branch working on his rehab, just not able to go full go and participate in OTAs as all of his teammates are at the moment. So here was Ridley first off on stepping up into the #1 wide receiver role, because this was more of the focus of the press conference versus the minor foot injury, because he basically said, minor foot injury, no worries, I'll be fine. And then it shifted over to Julio Jones is gone, with these first big comments after Julio Jones was traded last week. Here's how I'm going to step up and be ready to go. Throw that quote up on the screen. Quote, "No pressure. I played with Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, since day one. Those guys, I feel like I've been moving toward the way of I can do it by myself. Obviously, I'm not by myself. We have other players who are really good, but I feel like I'm ready and I just need an opportunity to get in those positions," end quote. Listen, for anyone worried about Calvin Ridley not being ready to be a #1 wide receiver, all you have to do, if you're talking to your friend and they're saying, oh man, the Falcons aren't going to be good this year because they don't have Julio Jones, just simply show them Calvin Ridley's stats last year, as we're showing you right now. Look at these numbers. This is last year. The Falcons were not a very good football team last year, as you and I both know. 90 catches, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns. If you had him in fantasy, you already knew how great he was. If you did, you played against him 1 week in fantasy, then you were probably upset because Ridley, let me just say it, is ready to be a #1 wide receiver. There's a reason they drafted him so high in the draft just a couple of years ago. It was the inevitable that Julio Jones, 1, could use a partner in crime, a Robin to his Batman, and 2, that the inevitability of Julio Jones retiring or getting too old or being traded was going to come. They needed to have a replacement. That time has come, and Ridley is more than ready to step up and be that #1 wide receiver. Now, as Ridley said, it's not just himself, though. They have other weapons on the wide receiver depth chart. We've talked about those in the past couple of videos in terms of the fact that Russell Gage seems very ready to be a #2 wide receiver at over 70 catches last year, and he, I think, is in the best position to benefit from Julio Jones being moved over to Tennessee. And you also got guys like Olamide Zaccheaus and, of course, rookie Frank Darby, maybe a little Cordero Patterson as well. Not expect a lot from him, but still, he is definitely an option. All of these young receivers need to step up, but Ridley is definitely the leader, obviously, and looks ready to go from multiple angles. Now, in terms of the injury here, and of course also the ability of Ridley to go ahead and be a #1 wide receiver, I was reading a Falcoholic article that I think sums everything up very, very well. We'll throw that quote up on the screen right now. Quote, "Julio Jones' injury last year ensured we got a good look at Ridley as Atlanta's #1, and what we all hope was a less intuitive offense. It was emphatically not Julio, nobody but Julio is. He was clearly a player who could be a major problem for defenses as the best receiver in a quality offense. The hope is that the addition of Kyle Pitts will take considerable attention off Ridley and make it easier for him to go one-on-one matchups, but that he can easily exploit. And Arthur Smith's play calling will make his life easier in general. Regardless of any of that, Ridley's confidence that he can dominate is evident." And that, again, was the whole point of this first article here, is that, of course, Ridley is very confident he's going to be able to dominate regardless of the defenses. And you pair in the fact that he has Russell Gage and now Kyle Pitts, and hopefully a way better offensive-minded head coach and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith versus what it was last year with Dirk Cutter. The recipe is already in the making for a very big year for Calvin Ridley. I'll finish on this question here. Over/under 6 touchdowns for Ridley in 2021. Right about where Vegas has it right now. He had 9 last year. That's obviously over. Do you expect him to kind of keep 6+? Is it 7 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns, or is it going to be less than that? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I got to go with the over. Unless he has some sort of crazy injury, I think he's going to easily have 6+ touchdowns. I think he's going to be a fantasy football wide receiver #1 possibility, not just from a target perspective, but from a yards and touchdown perspective as well. Give me O down below for over, but I'll read your guys' comments and see what you guys think. All right, before we go ahead and keep going, Kyle Pitts jerseys have not sold out yet, which is a surprise, but you can pick yours up right now by going to the link down below, chatsports.com/Pitts, and picking up the one-of-a-kind, brand new, super sweet-looking first-round draft pick Kyle Pitts jersey. Again, ton of different options. You have the black one, the white one, my personal favorite, the red one as well. Men's sizes, women's sizes, and even sizes for the young ones in your family. Again, chatsports.com/Pitts is the place to go, and you go down below to the link and pick that up right now because it's going to be a hot jersey. It's going to be one of the more popular jerseys in Atlanta. Not just this year, but hopefully for many, many years to come. The number 4 overall pick, tight end, can be a really good player, and you can rep his jersey all season long and get it with our link at chatsports.com/Pitts. I want to jump into some more Falcons news and rumors here. Keep rolling on a Wednesday. We have a new report as of a couple of hours ago, essentially. The Falcons are finally beginning to go ahead and sign their rookie class. So as of right now, recording this here on a Wednesday, the Falcons have signed 5 of their 9 draft picks in the 2021 NFL Draft. And they're one of the last teams to go ahead and get started on this. Not just saying because they only have signed 5, but most teams at least signed a couple of their players before this. But Atlanta had to wait because they needed to free up money by trading Julio Jones. Like the Julio Jones trade was more so not only to obviously free up money for future stuff, but free up enough money to go ahead and sign the rookie class. Because before this, before the Julio Jones trade, then we had like $500,000 to go ahead and sign, which is obviously not enough to go ahead and sign 9 rookies. So we'll start with these signed guys. We'll throw them up on the screen right now. Mayfield Graham, the linebacker, Ogunje. I always mess up his last name as well. Avery Williams, the cornerback, and Frank Darby are all the ones who officially inked their rookie deals. All good news, and that means that all are going to be obviously good to go for the rest of the offseason workouts and obviously into training camp. Although the 4 who remain unsigned, there is no concern here, and they are also at OTA. Just because they were unsigned doesn't mean they can't show up to any sort of practices. Pitts is unsigned, Grant is unsigned, Dahlman, and then Darren Hall. Quick thought on the Pitts thing here. He's probably going to be getting a fully guaranteed contract, as that's what most of the first-round draft pick players, especially in the top 15, have been able to get. The expected rookie cost is right about $7.108 million. Whenever you go ahead and run the math, you do the calculator, and that's what it's going to cost to go ahead and sign your draft class here in 2021. That does not include what's going to happen, going forward, because you got to get a 2022 salary cap, 2023 salary cap, but it's going to cost about $7.108 million to go ahead and sign this draft class, which leaves them with about $6 to $7 million in additional free cap space. You got to remember, the Julio Jones contract was about $14 to $15 million, and so you take that in half, sign your rookie class, then you're able to go ahead and hopefully sign maybe somebody else in free agency. We talked a lot about free agents here on the channel in terms of like a Melvin Ingram, in terms of maybe a cornerback. If there's a trade in the future, you do have some leeway and some money here, and that's the important part to note is that, yes, the rookie class is getting signed, and they have signed about half of it, so 5 of the 4, or 5 of the 9. They have 4 left. When they finish that, they will still have a little bit of money left over and could, not guaranteeing they will, but could go out and sign somebody if they wanted to, because they would now have money to do so. So the perks of being able to trade Julio Jones. Okay, which rookie are you most excited to watch this year? I want to know down below right now in the comments section. Now, the easy answer, I think, is Kyle Pitts, right? Because obviously, first-round draft pick, number 4 overall, tight end, offense. So the easy answer, and the answer I expect the most down below, is going to go ahead and be Kyle Pitts. But is there another player, another rookie you're excited to see? I'm excited to see Frank Darby. I think Darby potentially could be good this year. I know I've been a little bit Debbie Downer on him because he's a later-round draft pick, but give me another name besides Kyle Pitts, or maybe just Kyle Pitts, that you are excited about and seeing from this rookie class as they are getting signed, getting on the football field, and hopefully making a very early impact in the ATL. I'll jump into one final thing here on our video today. And before we get into that Stephon Gilmore discussion, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel because, as we mentioned, a mailbag video is coming up. But not just for mailbag videos. We have plenty of upcoming news and rumor and also offseason breakdown videos happening here on Atlanta Falcons Today. So go down below and make sure you guys are subscribed as we try to become the fastest and best YouTube channel regarding your Atlanta Falcons every single day. We're going to be doing a lot of videos here in the coming days. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Okay, I want to get into this final story here, and that has to do with Stephon Gilmore, because a lot of Falcon fans have asked me on Twitter, @RealThomas Mott, could Gilmore potentially be a target? So there are a couple of websites that have listed Gilmore as a potential target in terms of a trade with the Atlanta Falcons. The Sports Rush was one of the ones that said maybe this could go ahead and make sense, and this kind of gained a little bit more steam. We talked about this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, whenever people were saying maybe you trade him to New England and you get Stephon Gilmore in return, because of course Gilmore is slotted to make about $7 million this year and is currently holding out a Patriots camp. And Bill Belichick spoke to that in the media like yesterday and saying that they're not going to talk about it. But right now, Gilmore is not at mandatory minicamp. And again, it's because he wants a little bit more money because Gilmore is still considered one of the top 5 cornerbacks in the National Football League. And he's only making about $7 million a year compared to Jalen Ramsey, who's making way more than that. You understand why Gilmore is currently not at Patriots camp. So obviously, Gilmore is fantastic. And we can understand that he's one of the best defensive backs in the National Football League. And I think if you're Atlanta, and you could get him for the right price. The question is, what is that right price? You could go ahead and not only turn your secondary from what I think is very good, young, and upcoming into elite right now and ready to stop anybody else in the NFC South, because Gilmore can cover the best receiver for New England, the best receiver for Tampa Bay, the Saints, and obviously the Carolina Panthers as well, all of which have very good weapons. Now, let me ask you this. Should they trade for Stephon Gilmore? What do you think? Type T down below for trade. Type P down below for pass if you are out on that. Again, he sees if he would restructure his deal. It's part of this whole thing, what actually happened. But if you guys think that they should, type T down below for trade, type P down below for pass. Now, I'm not saying that the Falcons have a terrible cornerback depth chart. We talked about it a lot here. I like Isaiah Oliver and Kendall Sheffield are going to compete for that number 2 cornerback spot. Now, I think it might be Sheffield because they put Isaiah Oliver as a safety in terms of the depth chart so far in training camps. It's a little bit weird, but we know that A.J. Terrell is going to be one of these starters. The question is who will be the other starter. And even though I think Sheffield's going to be good, we all understand that A.J. Terrell plus a Stephon Gilmore could be an extremely good defensive back at depth chart, and so I would definitely be open to this. The question really is, if they traded for him, how much does he want in a contract restructuring? Can they afford a contract restructuring, even though they have about $7 million in free cap space right now? And would Gilmore want to go ahead and come to the ATL, where he probably wants to make sure he's at a winning organization that can be in Super Bowl form this year and not looking forward, 2 or 3 years down the road as people expect in the ATL. So there's your update on Stephon Gilmore. Again, he is holding out. Maybe New England gives him a new contract. Maybe they won't, but look for the Falcons to maybe make a phone call if he becomes available or is currently available, and they can find the money to go ahead and make that deal happen. All right, ultimately for today here on Atlanta Falcons Today. I'm your host, Thomas Mott, as we go ahead and sign off. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your day.